Hey there, welcome. I'm Cindy Daychak with Queen Bee Creations, and today we're going to be working on this thrifted tree. It's pretty heavy duty. I don't know if my plan is going to work or not. I was out at a place not too far from here called the Watering Can, which is, I don't know, maybe about 5, 7 greenhouses all attached together. They've got all kinds of different plants and Christmas plants. And I went for luncheon. They have a restaurant there, and they've got a bakery and all kinds of Christmas crafts. And then across the parking lot, they've got another 5 or 6 greenhouses set up, and they do classes there. So I went for a birthday luncheon for my sister, and had a chance to look around and looking at a bunch of the Christmas crafts. And they had this one red, it's like a wooden tree, and the front is all enameled. It was red with white dots, not polka dots, so it wasn't all the same size and uniform, just white dots all over. I have no idea if I can recreate that to kind of have that same sort of look or feel. But that's what we're going to try and do, because sometimes you just see something and you think, okay, I'm not buying it, but maybe I could make something similar. And so that's what I'm looking to do. So to start with, I want to leave a bit of a wood edging here. I'm leaving all the sides natural. I'm leaving the trunk natural. We're just painting red in here. So I'm using Fort York Red by Fusion, which is kind of a bright red, because I think that bright red color works for what I have in mind. And I just need to try and get a smooth edge though. So I'm going to be painting very carefully just to try and get a little bit of that edging happening and having it look that it's sort of even. And I'm going to need a number of coats of this just to be able to get nice, even coverage. So I'm going to get that painted out. With some multiple coats. I can't talk and do that kind of detailed painting all at once. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll reconvene once I have those coats on there. I'm hoping it works. Now that my tree has dried, I want to put some white dots. We're mimicking snow. I don't want it to be snowflakes, and I want them to be varying sizes. So I'm hopeful, just make sure it didn't blob up. I have a paint pen, and I'm thinking that I could do very tiny little dots all over, and then do some slightly bigger dots here and there. And I'm just gonna do that over the whole piece. I mean, you could do white paint. This, because I had it, just struck me as maybe going to be a little easier. That's all. So white dots, let them dry. I'm going to go mix up some resin for when it is dry, because that's our next step. Now, for my tree, I want to give it the look of enamel, so I definitely want to seal it with resin. Ideally, I don't want it flowing all around the edges, like flowing down. So I'm going to have to keep a close eye on it and the spreadability. I also want to make sure then that I'm not putting tons on. I have a little kind of rubber spatula kind of thing I'm going to use to try and move it to the edges and not take it right out to the edges. if you had, like, you can't tape this like you would paint and then peel it away because it's going to stick. It's going to attach itself to the resin. If you had obviously a silicone form, or, you know, I don't know if they make silicone flat things with metal in them that you can shape to whatever you want, but I'm just doing one project, so I wouldn't want to buy it for that anyway. It's not like I'm pouring tons of this stuff and doing it all the time. And yes, I know I don't have a mask on, but you can't hear me otherwise. So I'm gonna pour a bit on, just kind of down the middle. And I have way more than I need, but I have another project I'm working on, so the excess will go to that. And I'm just gonna try and spread this out all over. And once it's kind of covering my red paint, I'm gonna leave it to dry overnight. This is the slow dry stuff. And then we'll come and take a look at it. And I'm just thinking, if I don't have tons on, then maybe it'll stay where I put it. Now that I have that all spread out and I've tried to look sideways, I am going to take a little heat gun and I am going to just go over it to make sure that there's no air bubbles, and then I'm going to set it off to the side to dry. All right, my tree has dried and I love this. This turned out awesome, and the resin didn't extend past where I'd put it because I didn't have it so thick. I think that the resin maybe didn't like my gel pen or the paint marker or whatever. So there's a couple of spots where it resisted. I'm okay with that because this looks awesome. Now, this does not stand. It's a rounded base. So I need to make it stand in something. So I had thought maybe this, but that's going to be a pain. So I do have this wood one that it sits down into. So I think this is my best bet. But what I am going to have to do is drill a hole down into here and drill a hole up into here. So I did test out, I have this metal little rod. I don't know what it's from. It's just in my leftover. I'm going to need it someday, something. Look at me drawing on things. So I tested out a drill bit. That fits. So what I'm going to do is try and drill down deep enough in each of those that I can glue this down in, put some glue up into the hole in the tree, sit this on, and it's nice and steady. That's my plan. So here goes. All right, just to be able to see whether I got it deep enough so they don't have extra sticking out, I've just marked this off, and I just want to make sure it goes just about right. I think I just need to do a tinge more on this. Then I'm going to glue, stick it in, and hope it holds together. That fits perfectly. Now, I will say, maybe I didn't screw it perfectly straight because it might have a slight forward lean, but again, I'm okay with that because I'm pretty proud of myself. So, I think I'm gonna look and see about maybe some greenery in here just to fill this little hole. So there's a little bit of greenery there, and then it's done. And I gotta tell you, I am so impressed with myself on this one. All right, what I did do to, one, make it straight and even a little bit more stable is I took a couple of little tumbling blocks from the dollar store and I hot glued them in along the base. One serves as filler, but then it also balances this out, and I was able to course correct the lean. that seem to be happening. So what I do have is I have these packages of hobby moss. This is kind of a nicer, softer moss than, you know, like than the other kinds that typically I use. And I just thought this would maybe be a little bit nicer tucked in around the base. And I kind of just want to kind of push it in and not even glue it, because maybe somebody just wants to put in little baubles there, or you know, do something other than moss. And if it's not glued in, then it's not a pain to have to refresh and change out. But it tucks in firmly enough that it can stay. So then we have a finished tall pedestal tree, and look at that. Look at the shine on that resin. I am so thrilled with this, I can't begin to tell you. All from just a little outing and a little small enamel tree, but you know what? I'm loving this dupe of it. I will, of course, take a pic of it, but I didn't know whether or not I was going to have problems with the resin running over on the wood. The only other thing that I'm going to do now that everything is all dry is I'll take a little bit of hemp oil to refresh the wood and spiff it up a little bit. But apart from that, this guy's done. I had debated putting a jute rope around it and dangling a couple of bells, but I just love my little resin surface too much to cover it up. So, you know, sometimes we just fall in love with what we've done, and this is mine. It's been a while for me, but this is mine. Let me know what you think. You can do this on any scale. Obviously, you can even do it with those same Dollar Tree forms that I had done in another craft. You could use those little wood forms. You can do it on small little ornaments as well. This is a super cute technique that I'm going to be using again. So glad I experimented with it. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you. Definitely love to see you on the next one. And until then, take care.